Hello and welcome to my shotgun review of Age of Decadence by Iron Tower Studios. This is a $30 game on Steam currently and is based in the Roman post-Empire era as a turn-based RPG with a slight fantasy twist to it. So bam, let's get started and talk about the content. So first things first, just like starting any RPG, you get to create a character with some customization to his stats, his choice of occupation. This occupation will then determine where you begin, and this beginning is all intertwined together, which I thought was really neat, based off the poor murder of a merchant inside of a hotel room. Now, as far as I'm concerned, there's only two ways to actually play this game. You're either going to be a full-on murderous killer, or you're going to choose to be a guy who talks his way out of everything and just avoid any conflict at all. So I did try to make a merchant, and when I did make this merchant, it was very apparent to me that that was the most boring thing I could have done. All I do is I flip through little tabs and make choices and hope that it doesn't lead me to combat or just suddenly get me killed. So after that, I made a failed attempt of being an assassin, and then shortly after that, I decided that there was only one way I could really make a character that could be in combat. So allow me to demonstrate why. So, after trying several different characters, several different roles, several different weapons, I came down to one meta for this game. And this is what I came up with: to make a mercenary barbarian type class with full strength, high chances of hit as possible, maxing out axes for overpowered attacks that can possibly happen as you swing. So it turns out axes have a passive, every other weapon has a passive as well, but the best passive I've found is on these axes, you have a chance to do 30% extra damage. And if you have a max strength of 10, you have 40%, maximizing the damage you can possibly do and your chance to hit. So I didn't bother with a shield. If I got a shield, I would most likely be hit, and it's better to just dodge, because if you dodge, you're taking 0 damage. It doesn't have any sort of cooldown effect where you can only dodge so often until you can finally get hit. So you just keep on dodging away, and then you increase your chances of winning and not taking damage, and follow-up battles you might have afterwards before you can even heal. So despite how hardcore this character was, the game was still brutally hard in combat. He didn't win all his fights. There'd even be chances where I was at a 95% hit chance to hit a character, and I would just whiff and miss. So what ends up happening is you end up saving before every encounter you have with an NPC just to see what happens. If you miss your first attack, you might just stop right there and reload and then try again to make sure you get your first hit to hack his legs to make your chance of follow-up hits more successful. Because at that first few seconds of fighting, you know how the battle's going to turn out already based off this whole gambling chance. Like, you miss your first 2 or 3 swings, you're done. That's it. You just stop right there before you even die and reload. Another thing I ended up doing a lot that was kind of gimmicky is I would just keep a pool of points available, so when I come up to another dialogue situation or another combat situation where I felt like maybe I need more dodge, I'll just pump my dodge real quick. Or there's a dialogue option where if I had more streetwise, I might be able to successfully convince some dude to do what I need him to do. And if not, then maybe I need more persuasion. I'll save it, load it, pump the points in real quick, see what happens. If it fails, reload again because I just died, and then try again. Which is a real shame, because I really enjoyed the way the combat worked, because when you finish off a character, it had great animations for executing people. There's a lot of dynamics with the different type of strikes you could do. You could target heads, arms, legs. You can do special skills like thrusts with spears or cleaves. And as a character that mainly just did talking, it was a pain having to keep a pool of points ready just in case I fail the next set of dialogue and get killed during the dialogue, and now having to reload and pump points in the right spot so it doesn't happen the next time. So bam, let's talk about the graphics and the audio. So the graphics here are nothing special. You had some great kill animations in combat, which really helped change the pace and made it more interesting to get some of the kills, making it very satisfying when you do have that victory or that sense of disparity when you're the one on the receiving end. Now this game's not voiced at all. This game just has some music for when you're in the cities, you have some music when you go into combat, and you have sound effects for when you're hitting people with your weapons, and that's just about it. So bam, I give this game a 5 out of 10. This is not the greatest purchase for $30. I would not recommend it. I had a tough time enjoying this game, mainly because that it was stupid hard. It was ridiculous. It mainly spent most of my time in the loading screens and saving and loading, saving and loading, saving and loading, testing a few things out, making new characters, see what I can do with this new character, this new build, and I spent so much time doing that I wasn't enjoying the game. There was such a strong emphasis on the stat picking that you don't know the future. You can't tell the future. So you automatically are at a disadvantage in this game if you don't know what's ahead of you because you don't know what stats to get and how to build your character correctly. This pretty much funnels you into the one or two playstyles that's really available to you, and that's either to be a full-on combatant, which doesn't always guarantee success. You still are going to have these really challenging battles, or a complete pacifist who's just going to spend most of his time in these chat tabs trying to pick and choose your right persuasion points and your streetwise in order to get through each section of dialogue and try to, manipulate through your way there. And again, you can die in the dialogue. There's no guarantee you're just going to cruise right through, and you won't know why until it happens. And when you die, you go, oh, I didn't have enough trap points in there. How was I supposed to know there's a trap? In fact, I don't have any trap points. I'm a merchant. The only good things about the game was the story and its story arcs and the ability to use your skills and subset of skills and whatever items you had on you to make certain choices within the dialogue. And the combat mechanics had great skill sets for you to use to keep a lot of diversity with different weapons, and the maps were packed with random encounters. But that's about all. On top of that, you had the awesome starting classes, which all intertwined into something that I don't want to spoil if you do play it. And that's it for my review, broskies. Hope you enjoyed it and it gave you a little bit of insight of whether or not you should spend the money on this game. See you later.
Ah!